time I've showed my face to the internet at all. And if you couldn't tell by that intro, today was my last day of chemo. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then I'll say this. I'm a cancer patient. Or at least, I guess I was. I still kind of am. I'm still going in for like scans and things like that. But radiation, it's done. Chemo, it's done. And those are both two types of treatment for cancer. I have I've been with this for over a year and a half now. I believe getting the first signs of me having cancer came around October, and I was pretty much just rushed to the hospital in incredible pain. Nobody had a clue what was going on. My dad thought it was a kidney stone. It wasn't. But we didn't really know what it was. Once we got there, I spent like, I don't know, 2.5 hours sitting in the waiting room, doubled up, not able to say a word. And we finally went back. I got hooked up on morphine. And if you've never had a bunch of morphine while you're in a lot of pain, that wasn't morphine. That was holy water. It honestly, it honestly was. My face is going fuzzy. Alright then. And after that, they took me around, did CAT scans, things like that. And they said, oh, well, we know what the problem is. You have a cyst. And it was just kind of left at that. Like, it wasn't a very serious thing. They didn't give me anything to help with any pain that might come in the future or anything like that. It was just, okay, here's some morphine so you're not feeling this pain at the moment, even though this stuff is very temporary. You have a cyst, come back in January, and this was October, remember, and we will drain the cyst so that you don't have to deal with it anymore. So from then on, I didn't really experience any more symptoms until January rolled around. And once I went in, they drained the cyst, and at the time they didn't know what it really was, so when they went to drain it, it started bleeding, which cysts aren't supposed to do. And at that point they realized, something's wrong, something's going on, and this is where it kind of gets a bit weird and kind of horribly painful. But at that point, I woke up and I had a catheter in me. If you don't know what a catheter is, good. Just good. Never look up what a catheter is. It is a horrible, horrible thing that you never want inside of your body, especially if you're male. But there was one other thing I also had inside of me, which it actually took me a few days to even realize there was anything in me because of the way they had it set up, and I'll actually show you right here. That is the port that has been in me since January. Not last January, it's March now. A year ago plus a few months. Is it March now or is it April? I don't know. But basically it's kind of just like a little thing where they can take a needle, put it in, kind of like an IV, except it makes it easier, it makes the process more simple, and they should be taking it out soon. But I never finished my story. After January, I woke up with all that, I remember being put on, like, they called it a banana bag, and it was basically like the thing that they put you on if you cannot eat at all, and it was just like liquid nutrients being pumped into me because I couldn't eat because I was in so much pain and so nauseated and all these different things, and I didn't really know what was going on. Um, Trying to think of where else I should go with this. Uh, After that, we I kind of stayed in the hospital for a while. I was on a morphine pump. Like every 15 minutes, I was allowed to hit this button next to me, and it was always next to me because it had to be. I pretty much hit it every 15 minutes, and it would give me morphine because I needed it. It was that bad at the time. But eventually, February rolled around, and sometime during February, I went into the doctor again, and I was in a bit better. Okay, so my battery ran out and is now several days later because it had to charge overnight, and for a couple of days I felt sick to my stomach and couldn't record this. Um, I am wearing the same shirt because just about every other shirt I own has information about where I live on it, so that's cool. But I ended my story off in February, and I'm not going to go into too much detail about some of the events in February because it was really painful, and I've pretty much tried as best as I can to block those out of my memory, and it's worked pretty well, so I don't remember too terribly much about those, except for like some of the really bad parts. Again, not gonna go into too much detail. I feel sorry for the nurses. And yeah, before those events happened, um, I went into the doctor one day and I felt pretty good actually. And basically, we all went in. We weren't really too terribly sure what to expect. And he just told us, well, he told me and my parents that I had cancer and I was going to be going through 54 weeks of treatment and blah blah blah. He just kind of glossed over that, like that was a regular thing that he had to talk to people about. And I was just like silently losing my mind. I wasn't saying anything, but like 54 weeks is over a year. That's a lot. It was basically just saying, like, okay, am I going to miss out on the next year of my life? And, yeah, pretty much. That's exactly what happened. Um, I haven't been to school since January. Uh, I don't go to as many scout meetings as I'd like to. I'm still I'm still pretty present at them. Like I tend to go to a lot of them, a lot more than I thought I would. And I'm barely looking at the camera. Oh well. Um, what else? That After that, that's pretty much just where the treatment began, and the chemo started showing the first effects on my body. Like, hey, you're not going to be able to eat when you take this particular type of chemo. Everything's going to taste terrible when you're taking this one. There's one that makes my fingers and toes go numb, which I've been taking 3 pills a day for the past year because of it, because the numbness got so bad that it was actually painful. And kind of tempted to show how many pills I have right now, but basically I've been taking a shot glass of pills every day, and it's not fun. The ability to take a cup of pills and just down the whole thing at one time is not an ability you want to ever possess. But it's pretty much just been regular since then. I've just kind of been in a cycle of I feel like crap this week, I'm going to the doctor this time, this place, and I've never really kept track of what's been going on. Like, whenever I go to the doctor, it's always just kind of a surprise to me. I wake up early one morning and we're going to the doctor. It's for radiation, it's for chemo, it's just for checking my blood counts. I never really know what I'm going in there for because I've been trying throughout this entire experience to know as little as possible about what's going on. And I mean, that's just kind of what you gotta do, because if I know too much, then I'm gonna start having anxiety attacks and panic attacks. And if you've never had an anxiety attack, which I assume most of you probably haven't, it's different for different people, but when I say an anxiety attack, I mean anxiety starts to slowly build up over time, and then I start hyperventilating, just like water and fluids just start dripping out of my eyes, my nose, my mouth, and for like the next 30 minutes to an hour, I can't speak. All I can do is just breathe really, really fast. And a big thing of it is just like, I know I'm scaring others, and it's really not as bad as it seems to be. Like, it's just anxiety. I'm gonna get over it in a minute, but it really sucks to know that I'm just terrifying everyone there and I can't help it. I would stop hyperventilating if I could, but I really can't. And there's also a panic attack, which is the first time I had it, I was terrified. Like, I was kind I was slightly under the impression that I was going to die. I really and truly was. Because I remember the first time I was on it, I was having a panic attack. I was at the doctor just kind of for a checkup or something. I don't even remember what I was there for, honestly. And I'm just laying down, or I'm sitting down on their little thing that they have there. You know, the thing with like the paper over it that they always pull over. And suddenly I just start getting really nauseous, but not like I'm gonna throw up. Actually, scratch that. It's exactly like I'm gonna throw up. And I start getting more and more nauseous really, really quickly. And then all of a sudden, everything goes dark. Like, I'm literally blind for like 60 seconds to 2 minutes or so. And that was just straight feeling of terror that I don't feel. I don't feel that ever. And that time I just did. And it's happened a few other times as well. I remember once, as soon as my homebound teacher came over, it started happening. It wasn't his fault, it was just really poor timing. I remember once it was at either church or a scout meeting. I think it was church, which I haven't been to church hardly at all either. Actually, it was both. It was a scout meeting that we were having at the church because it was a court of honor. And, what the hell was I talking about? Whatever. I was somewhere in March. It's just kind of been a cycle of constantly feeling like crap, and as soon as my blood count starts to get to a somewhat decent level so that I feel moderately okay, they give me more chemo, because they can't give me chemo if my blood count is too low. So they wait until it's at a certain point where I feel not like complete crap, and then I feel like complete crap again. And it's just been a cycle. And it's been over 54 weeks because it's been delayed plenty, but I'm here now. Everything's done. I've gotten through all the treatment, and I'm really happy about that. I know my face is just radiating with excitement, but I'm not really too sure what else I should talk about. The Make-A-Wish Foundation actually came to me, and I'm gonna tap the screen just to make sure my iPad doesn't turn off again. I'm gonna hope this doesn't stop the recording. Please? I think we're good. It didn't stop? We're good. Okay. The Make-A-Wish Foundation actually contacted me and said that I'm allowed to have a wish, and I really didn't feel like I needed one, so what I ended up doing with that wish was basically a lot of things happened. But what ended up happening in the very end was they donated $5,000 to something called Child's Play Charity, which is a group that gives toys and games to children's hospitals around the world. And in doing that, I also inadvertently, I think I used that word right, maybe, got my own hospital that I go to be put on Child's Play's list. So now they're helping this hospital as well. And I think that's all I want to talk about. But I guess as some last words. Through the time that I've had cancer, I've made myself proud of the things that I've done. Like, I think it was January that I became an Eagle Scout, and it was. I basically had one day that I wasn't in the hospital, and that just so happened to be the exact day of my Eagle Scout Board of Review, which was scheduled months beforehand. So if I had missed that day, which was almost guaranteed for me to miss that day, I would have had to wait many more months, probably at least April, May, something like that. But I got it in January, and now I'm an Eagle Scout, and I've done a lot of other things too. I'm not really physically capable of much, so I've spent a lot of time just like doing things on the computer. I've been the second in the world to no hit Flowey, which is something I'm incredibly proud of. And that wasn't me trying to show off, that was me as a normal person with kind of a disability, I guess, at the moment, just trying to prove you can do anything. It really doesn't matter. As long as you set your mind to something, you can do it. Like, I am a human too, and I still did that. It took me 6 months, but I still did it. You just have to be stubborn enough. You have to want whatever you're doing enough. And if you don't want it enough, that's fine. That's perfectly fine if you don't want it. Just know that it's not going to happen. But I ramble so much. I think that's all I want to talk about, so thank you, everyone, for sticking with me. And, see you soon.